You are listening to Small Business Straight Talk with your host, Amber De La Garza. Amber is a sought-after coach, trainer, speaker, and writer who gives small business owners the straight talk on productivity, time management, business systems, leading your teams, strategic decision-making, and mindset. No BS, fluff, or overused jargon. Just actionable strategies to get results and succeed in business. And here is your host, Amber De La Garza, the Productivity Specialist.
Welcome, and thank you for listening to the Small Business Straight Talk podcast. Today is episode 365, The Critical Role of a Google Profile with Nancy Ganzekaufer. If you're a small business owner who wants to learn effective business strategies, improve time management, and elevate productivity to maximize profits, reduce stress, and make time for what matters most, then you're in the right place, and I'm so glad you've joined me. I'm looking forward to bringing our guest, Nancy Ganzekaufer, to you today. Nancy is a sought-after business and life coach, body language trainer, speaker, and author. Previously named one of New York's top coaches, Nancy specializes in coaching interior designers with a focus on marketing and sales strategies, helping them maximize their profitability while identifying and serving their ideal clients with confidence. Nancy guides her clients to develop the most straightforward path to higher profitability, visibility, and scalability through confident decision-making, efficient systems, and effective communication. She enjoys rolling up her sleeves and helping her interior design clients tackle the tough challenges in life and work, transforming them into healthier, happier, focused professionals. With her no-nonsense coaching style, Nancy has empowered thousands to know and charge their worth and position themselves in their market with authority and authenticity. Today, I asked Nancy to come in and talk to us about Google Profiles, which is something that she does work with her clients on, but is definitely something that all business owners need to be considering as part of their marketing and visibility strategy. So I can't wait to dive in and learn more with Nancy. Before we dive in, though, I want to invite you to take my Next Level Business Owner quiz. If you have not already done so, hit pause and in 3 minutes, discover what's most holding you back from taking your business to the next level. And then you'll get an email with a curated playlist with specific episodes that address those specific challenges that you can implement in your business immediately. What is more effective, efficient, and profitable than finding solutions specifically to the challenges that you're facing right now? Head on over to amberdelagarza.com/quiz. The link will be in the show notes as well, but be sure to head on over. And now let's meet our guest and get to the straight talk. Hi, Nancy. Welcome. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Amber. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Yes, me too. We have met each other. We met each other at Luann Live. A year ago, almost this week or last week.
Has it been a year?
Yes. Didn't it go so fast?
Oh my God, so fast. Yes.
Yes. And then, we run in some of the same circles. So I'm really glad we've gotten an opportunity to have you on the podcast. I would like to hear more about you. If you would like to just start off and share a little bit about your journey, something we didn't hear about in your official bio.
Okay, so I'll tell everyone a little bit about how I came to be a business coach, because I don't believe that's in my full bio. So I'm a business coach and body language trainer to interior designers. I started out after college as a banker, like many interior designers actually start out in banking or private industry. And about 10 years in, I started having kids. My second child was born. I thought, I can't keep this up anymore. I can't keep bringing 2 kids to daycare and working and having people lined up outside my door, because I was the first vice president of a mortgage banking department in a bank in New York. So I left. I became a mommy for quite a few years. I even watched some of my friends' kids sometimes just to keep us occupied. And then I went back to become a personal fitness instructor, personal trainer, because I wanted to get my body back in shape. And I figured, let me help other people while I'm doing this. So I went back to college and I did a certification program to become a personal fitness instructor. Did that for a couple of years before I got pregnant with my third child. So left that. And then one day, about 2 years after my youngest was born, he was born with a heart anomaly and was quarantined for 2 years. So I didn't do a lot over those 2 years. I watched my 5 and my 3-year-old and my quarantine baby. And when he was safe to go out into the world and into preschool, my mother called, and she's gone now, but my mother was an artist and just piling up her work. So she said, I don't know what to do with this. I'm going to get rid of it. I'm just going to give it away. I'm going to throw some stuff out. It's just too much. And I'm like, no, give it to me. I'll sell it. So she shipped it from Las Vegas. Yeah, my parents retired really early at 55 and 57. My parents were, when they left New York and they moved to Las Vegas, and my father began building big model ships that are gorgeously detailed. And my mother became an artist for the first time in her life. And she was quite good. So I started selling her artwork at home art parties, literally sticky tacking artwork, watercolors to people's walls and asking them to invite their family and friends. So I started selling artwork. And then one day, an interior designer walked into one of my parties. And she's like, that would be the perfect piece of art for my client's bathroom. Could you bring it to the house?
Wow.
And I was like, sure. It wasn't even one of my mother's pieces, by the way. By that point, I was carrying other artists. They were contacting me because they found my website. I was an art consultant. They wanted representation. So I went to the house. The client loved it. They said, can you help us frame it? I said, sure. Amber, I had no idea anything about art or watercolors or acrylics or giclées, reproductions. And over the next 2 years, I basically learned everything I needed to know to sell artwork in people's homes. So then I thought, how do I find these people? And I realized that one interior designer gave me a big clue into the type of people who appreciate the service of shopping at home for artwork and framing. So I created Expressive Living Art Framing, and I started finding interior designers by going to the Interior Design Society, the IDS local chapter on Long Island in New York. I became the vice president, then the president, and then continued on to be a national board member. And at some point, another designer who used to use me for artwork said, can you do accessories too? I hate accessorizing. And I was like, okay, art, framing, accessories kind of goes hand in hand.
Right.
Expanded my house. I created a showroom in my house I had an art room and I had an accessories room. And the designers used to come to my home to shop, to kind of pre-select. And then I would go out to their clients' homes. And on premise, we would hold up artwork on walls and get people to select and do all the accessorizing. But then at some point, in order to market myself, I was like, how do I get more designers into my showroom? So I started having social media, webinar, seminars live in my home, in my showroom. Then I would have accounting sessions to teach them how to do accounting, teach them how to sell, because I would witness in the homes when they were speaking to their clients what I would call some real offenses sometimes. Like the designer just wasn't speaking in a way that would get the client to love their idea, wouldn't bring them more business, wouldn't continue the relationship. I saw them with their staff. I saw how they operated, and I thought, I can do this. I can teach them how to be better at what they're doing. So I hung my shingle as a coach, and I did both for like 2 years, both art consulting. I had 2 employees working in my home. And then I started doing the coaching. And that's where I thought, this is for me. I should have done this years ago.
Oh, wow. Look at all those breadcrumbs. Like, isn't that interesting how we could tell our journey? And it seems like it was always meant to be, but when you're in it, it doesn't quite feel that way. But it all works out always if you just follow the clues, right? And
yes.
And what I noticed through all of that is you kept asking, what do they need? How can I serve? Even starting with your mom and then observing, what do they need? How can I serve? What do they need? How can I serve? And that seemed to be a running thread through your journey. That's incredible.
It definitely was. And I think now with the designers that I coach, they get so nervous about, they need to know all the answers before they say yes to something. And I'm more like, let's say yes if it's something that you want to explore, and let's figure out how to get it done profitably, efficiently, effectively, where you feel really good about it, and continue to learn while you do, not having to learn everything before you do.
Yeah, I find that to be true for many business owners, is that they think they have to have it all figured out first. But by the time they execute, maybe the opportunity's gone or it's not as profitable, right? Like there's something to be said to like learning while you're doing it and just staying a couple steps ahead. Because we're
Yes,
not
but
pushing off the doing. We're not staying in the learning.
correct. You're forcing yourself to learn, but it's breaking through the perceived like lack of confidence in order to get to the other side and get the confidence, because you get true confidence by actually doing, not just sitting around and thinking about things, right? You got to actually go out and do. So this limbo that a lot of people live in, I just tend to pull the trigger, figure it out as I go along. And everything with business, if I feel like I want to do it, then I do it and I figure it out. If I'm unsure, then I wait until I get those conversations with myself that tell me now's the time. And there've been some really amazing ideas that I've had or initiatives I've wanted to go for where I've decided not to, because I need to think about my life as well, that work-life balance that everyone's trying to achieve. Work hard, be profitable, but also make sure you have enough time in your life for yourself and for your loved ones, because if you don't, you'll end up being lonely and sick.
Yes.
Right. So you've got to try to meld all these things together. And in my journey, I was always trying to get all these pieces together. And of course, be a mom, right? Which is always the most important thing that we do as women, while trying to fulfill our own desire for success, achievement, our own businesses, whatever we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing with me that, or all of us, that journey for sure. I want to dive into your topic. So you reached out to me and said, I want to talk about Google business profiles. And I was like, yes, I have had nobody on the podcast talking about this. We use this as a strategy, even though I'm not technically a local business. We do use this strategy in my business. And so I was just curious, like, we utilize the strategy, but do we have a strategy behind it, or we just have a Google business profile? So I can see how this is going to be incredibly valuable to any business that has a local presence.
Yes. Well, first of all, I utilize the Google business profile also. However, Google shut me down once or twice because they discovered I wasn't a local business. And technically, from their ears to my SEO person, search engine optimization person, that technically that's not what it's meant for. It's meant for local businesses, right? So for interior designers who I coach and who you coach, this is hugely important. And I don't know if you know this statistic, but I was pretty shocked by it. 73% of consumers searching for interior design services choose one that shows up on a Google business listing.
Wow.
73%. I mean, think about that. Out of 100 people going to wanting to hire an interior designer, people think they're going to Instagram, they're going to Facebook, but they're starting 73% of them at Google.
All right. Well, let's just first off start with, what is it? Like, maybe someone's listening and they're like, I don't even know what it is. So let's start off with, what is a Google business profile? How do you get started? All the basics, and then we'll dive into why it's important and some strategies.
Okay, so a Google business profile is literally if somebody goes to their computer and Googles, let's say, interior designer. I'm in Florida now, but I was in New York. So if I say interior designer, Long Island, New York, they're going to come up with some names in the top, past the people who are paying to be at the top, the sponsored ads, right? Once someone sees you, on the right-hand side is often more details about your company, and it's called a business listing on Google, okay? Google gives preference to people's websites if they have a Google business profile. They want all the information on your Google. In other words, you have to claim yourself and your business name on Google. Let's start there, okay? So first you have to claim it, and you have to
don't have to pay it. So for clarity, you're not paying to claim it.
This is the best part of all this, Amber. This is free for everybody. You don't have to pay Google to have a listing. It's kind of like, I'm trying to think of an equivalent. Like if you ever go on Zillow or Trulia and you have to claim your own property if you own your house, like, yep, that's my house in order for you to see all the ups and downs and all the things. It's like that. Google wants you to claim yourself and your business and tie your website to it so that they can then also give you statistics about who's visiting your website, where they're coming from. But mostly I'm here to say, if you don't have a Google business profile, you are probably not being found by the people who need you in your local area.
Okay. So we first start off with claiming it, putting in all the basic information that's accurate.
Correct. Now, I'm not the tech person on my team. I'm the coach, right? So I have people on my team who can do this for me and did it. I did it actually myself years ago, but now we go in and make sure our Google business profile is optimized. And we have created a tutorial free for people who want to make sure they have a Google business profile, if they want to optimize it and how to do it. And that's the link we're providing to everyone for this podcast. So you'll be able to go and download our free tutorial, and it literally takes you step by step through how to claim your Google business profile, how to get verified, and then how to use it properly to get more traffic to your website. Because, you know, Amber, when people come to you and go, I don't get enough business, like there's no business coming in. There's multiple issues it could be. First, you have to look at traffic. Is there traffic even coming to their public facing profiles? Is there traffic coming to Instagram, Facebook, or their website? Sometimes you find out there's no traffic, yet they've spent a year changing their website over and over again, thinking that's going to do it, which sometimes it is, but that's after you've determined that there's a traffic issue. So for me, I always go, do you have a Google business profile? No, I don't. Okay, let's make sure you get your Google business profile up and running, because 73% of people are looking for you on Google.
Right.
You have to then optimize your Google business profile, which has your name, an address, service areas, and we'll go back and talk about address in a second, service areas, your description, the hours that you're open, and then you can use your Google profile to do exactly what you do on Facebook and Instagram. Post regularly. It posts on certain planners, you can post simultaneously to Google business profile. So when we post to Facebook and Instagram, we're posting to Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Google business profile all simultaneously.
And you're posting social media posts or just images? Okay. Well, and what kind of content is relevant for a service-based business owner to be posting there?
All their blogs. All their service models. So if they have designer for a day, designer on call, full service design, renovations, new builds, it can all be listed there. The more it matches your website for your service areas, the way everything's worded, the more Google's going to go, yep, this is legit. It matches. And they're going to feed more people who are searching for interior designer in your area, your website. If you have more likely to be found if you have a Google business profile than not.
Okay. And what scheduling, program are you using or app are you using that is broadcasting to Instagram, Facebook, and includes Google profiles?
So I'm going to give a little plug to Kim Vanderpool at Fresh Impact. She is a social media guru, and she has what's called a Get It Done Club, and she introduced us to Cloud Campaign. Cloud Campaign posts across all platforms. As a matter of fact, I believe they've just added TikTok and maybe Reels also, but we're not using it fully for all of that. But we use Cloud Campaign to post across all platforms.
Okay. I'm writing it down. I look forward to looking into that for sure.
Yes, definitely look into it. It's worth it because I know when I first started coaching and teaching, people would say, don't put the same thing on Facebook as you put on Instagram, and don't put the same thing on Instagram as you put on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is different. It's more business professional. And don't put the same thing on Google. But in the end, I was a one-woman show. Maybe I had one assistant at that point. And I was like, we're putting the same thing across everywhere because we have no choice. We have no time, and we want to be everywhere. And it worked just fine. So I was like, why are these limitations happening where people think they can't do the same? the bottom line is I've been in business now coaching almost 9 years, I think, 9 years. And now one person has ever said to me like, oh my God, you post the same thing across all platforms.
No, it's always different people looking at different platforms. Yeah.
Exactly.
We all
People
have a
have their
favorite platform.
Right. They have their favorite platform. So imagine if 73% of people are going to Google to find their interior designer. And here's another statistic. Only 65 to 70% of interior designers even have a Google business profile. Okay. So 65 to 70%, but only 40% have it completed and optimized.
And how often are you suggesting that they update their profile?
I always say update. If you're doing social media 3 times a week, then do your Google business profile 3 times a week. If you're not doing that and you don't have a scheduler like I have suggested, and it's a pain in the neck, at least put in your blogs once a month. If you're doing a once a month blog, or go in and do a once a week post to your Google business profile, something that you're also posting somewhere else, if that makes it easy for you. I mean,
and do you think that people are actually like viewing the posts, or really is it more helpful for SEO and searching if someone's searching something and it pops up?
It's more for them searching and if something pops up, right? So
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, I don't know anyone that's like, hey, let me get on my Google profile for social media or to find posts. So it's really just a pathway for search engine optimization through Google using the Google, a Google tool that they want you to use.
That's free. Yes.
Right. Okay.
That's free. I mean, imagine, so I think I'm in a state right now where they took down my profile again, but because I'm not a local business. So sometimes we have to jump through hoops to get them to bring my profile back. But it allows you to put a link to your Instagram, your Facebook, your YouTube, anything you have, Pinterest, can be all linked to your Google profile. And when it comes, address is the biggest problem for interior designers because a lot of them work from their home, right? So they don't want their address on their Google profile. They don't want it on their website. So I'm here to tell you, if you do put it on there, it's better for you in that sense because Google likes it to match. But you can put it and you can hide it. It doesn't have to be public on your Google profile. And as long as it matches whatever you say on your website. So for example, one of the things that a lot of designers are missing on their Google profile, Google business profile, and on their website is their service areas. So you can see sometimes people who've coached in my world, in my Profit Insider program, because in their footer of their website is all their service areas, right? You want to make sure you have all the service areas in your local area that you serve. So again, if someone's whatever county, whatever town, like whoever you're serving, it's important to word it exactly the way you think a person would word it if they go up to Google and search.
Right.
So
exactly.
I remember when I first taught my first Instagram class on Long Island to when I was an art consultant, I was having these seminars, and I went to my phone and I searched interior designer Long Island. And then I searched Long Island interior designer. So 8 years ago, not one designer on Long Island in New York was using those hashtags.
Wow.
Not one. Now everybody knows to use, it's because it just spreads like, oh, we should be putting interior designer in our local area so people can find us and do it in all different versions of it. So now the same thing's going to happen with Google. People are going to start learning. I should be putting in my service areas so I can be found. I should be putting in my blogs so I can be found. So in our Profit Insider Academy, my group coaching program, we're working a lot more with everybody on their SEO and their search engine and backlinks and the way they use their footers and the words they're using on their website behind their images. And the same thing has to happen in Google. You can be putting in your portfolio images there, be putting great descriptions, and this is going to make it more likely to be found if someone's searching for you.
Okay, excellent. How do you know it's working? I don't even know this. So like we keep ours updated. We audit it frequently. Like if I have a bio update, we make sure it's updated there. If I add a new service, we're updating it there. We have it as just a recurring task that shows up monthly for my content manager where she goes and takes a look at it, make sure everything's current and accurate. If anything needs to be updated, it gets updated. It's literally, Normally there's not an update. So it's literally a 2 or 3 minute task. But having that consistent task come up, make sure you're not, oh, I forgot I even had it, my profile, and 6 months later, a year later, and it's out of date. So we like to keep it fresh.
Yes.
But I don't know this answer. Can you tell if people are clicking it and it driving traffic to your website?
So if you look in your Google statistics, you can see where your traffic is coming from. So you can see if it's a direct, meaning they Googled you and they got to your website directly, or whether it's coming from Facebook, Pinterest. I mean, it tells you the breakdown. So it's important what you're doing, Amber, making sure you're checking it every month for sure, because what happened to one person that I know is they went from a lot of traffic to zero traffic. Zero. And it was like, okay, why did we go to zero? And it's a brain game, right? Did I change anything? Did I go and change images? Did I do this particular person with the onset of ChatGPT'd every word on their website, basically rewrote every single page and put it out there exactly as ChatGPT had said it. Well, Google knows when you're using ChatGPT, and they killed all traffic to the website.
Wow.
100% of the traffic. I mean, they have now white, what do they call them? They're almost like, I've heard, and I don't know this firsthand, but I'm hearing that Google is identifying a certain percentage of ChatGPT text, and they're putting almost like a watermark on it in the background. So when their system is searching, they're going to go right over it. So if you're using ChatGPT for your copy on your website, the words on your website, or if you're using it for your blogs, make sure you're not using it verbatim 100%, because it will kill your traffic. So how do you know if it's working, Amber? It's the Wild West. You don't always know. You're basically just checking your statistics on a regular basis and seeing if you're going up slowly on it. The other thing that I teach all my interior designers to do, and I do it myself as well, is can I ask how you found me? The minute someone gets on my calendar, they're getting, simple questions to get on my calendar. One of them is, can I ask how you found me? So I know whether they're saying Google, Facebook, design files, Amber's podcast, I don't know always. So I ask so that I always know which of my marketing is actually working. And we teach our clients to do the same thing.
That's really good. My take, even though, again, that's interesting, I have not been shut down. And so hopefully Google is not listening to this, because I'm not exclusively local. I have local clients, but I'm not exclusively local to Las Vegas. But for us, it was such a minimal input for possible up, right? Like, why wouldn't you want to play ball with Google? Like, just about everybody's using Google to find you. So to me, it's a minimal input for a high upside. And it doesn't take much to maintain it. And so, in my world, this would be, yes, it's a little bit of a project, meaning there's going to be a lot of one and done types of things. Get your profile up, optimize it, update all the information. I don't know. How long would you think that takes? An hour at the most?
To update your...
No, to just get it going, like initially off the ground.
I'll tell you why it depends, because some people have attempted it in the past and have screwed up their own profile. So it's like fixing it, finding their password, getting it back. And then the verifying seems to be the biggest obstacle for people. And Google has added new ways to verify. It used to be that you had to have a postcard mailed to your house. When you got the postcard, you had to go and put the code in. It was such a pain. And now they do it that way still, but they have other ways that you can do it. So good. I'd say worst case scenario, it's an hour of frustration to get it up, cleaned up and ready. And then if you're doing it again once a week, making a post, or even once a month, something to keep it up to date. I want you to think of it this way, or everyone who's listening. If someone finds you and then they go, like they hear about you, and then they go to Google and they find your Instagram and you haven't posted there in 2 months. But you're still in business, but they don't think you're in business anymore because you're not keeping up. You haven't posted on your personal Facebook profile or your business profile. And when they look on Google profile, it just shows you're open 7 days a week, 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
Obviously not someone who's keeping up on their profile. So if I was a client hiring an interior designer for my house and I knew that I wanted this project to go well and go smoothly, I'm going to look at the way people handle their Google business profile, their social media,
Yes.
their website, and go, does this look like a person who is a good business person? Because if it's not looking in your public facing assets,
It's not part of your branding, polished. Like, yeah.
Exactly.
Because
Exactly.
it could be there already, like you said, and it's filtering some information, but you didn't claim it and update it. So it could still be representing you out there and you don't know it and not in a good light.
Correct.
So we're recording this the day after Veterans Day. Yesterday was Veterans Day. My husband and I are out having breakfast, running some errands, going to stores. And I told him, I'm like, I'm really done with our insurance agent. We had been with the same insurance agent for 16 years. And then suddenly 2 years ago, we got switched. And all we were told was our insurance agent's no longer with the company anymore. Well, that insurance agent has yet to ever contact us. When I need something, I'm contacting them. And the last person that we were doing business with was like, we're getting reviews, we're touching base. Like, he just had incredible customer service. So we're driving down the road and I was like, you know what? Let's go get a new insurance quote. Our homeowner's insurance is up on the 20th. I think we're going to do it now, right? It's one of those adulting things. So we're in the car. And so of course we Google insurance agencies near us. And we pop up and like down the street, it says our insurance agent's name that went MIA 2 years ago.
Oh.
And we were like, there he is. Like, he's back. And so we drive about 3 miles down the road and it was abandoned. It was his Google profile. He's not in that building anymore. He's not in business anymore. And so we were like, oh my gosh, we thought we found him. So, okay, fine. Then I was like, well, we still need to find somebody else. So we go back to Google profile because I do believe we all use it very frequently when we want local services. And I search up another company and we drive to it and they're out of business.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, what is going on? Right. And so look, I'm not saying if you're out of business, go delete your stuff, but PSA, please do that. Please do that for me in the future. But the reason I tell you that is like, I knew we had this, I didn't even put two and two together. Like, I knew we had this interview scheduled today, but that's just one day and one challenge. And I used it multiple times. And I can think of, I generally use it almost on every local search, anything I'm trying to solve for. I was going to a conference and I needed my pants hemmed. And I'm like, find a, I don't even know, like dry cleaners that does alterations near me. Google business profile, right? And so why wouldn't you, do this for your local business? And I know you work particularly with designers. We have a lot of designers that listen to this podcast. I wanted to also say, to your point, I follow a lot of designers, as I'm sure you do too. That's our world. And when you're the designer and you're in Las Vegas, you just assume everyone knows you're in Las Vegas. But because you and I follow designers everywhere, it blows my mind how many people don't actually say in their profile what area they're servicing.
Oh, I know.
And it's one of those simple things of like, you're in it. So you don't see the obvious of like, maybe I should put my area of where I service. And so I just wanted to share that little bit too, is like, I experienced that. And so your advice of updating the website and all the service areas and Google business profile and updating those areas with specific areas you service in the language locals use, right? So in Vegas, see, I said Vegas, although nobody searches that, Las Vegas. In Las Vegas, generally, whether you're in Henderson or Las Vegas, you're searching Las Vegas. You're definitely never searching our county. You would say in Henderson, North Las Vegas, Las Vegas. And so I think it's really important to understand like the nuances of your area and how people tend to search in your local area.
Yeah, a great point. And that should be at the bottom of your website. It should be on your Google business profile. I'm like you. I'm an international coach. I can coach anywhere, but as a local business. So what I did was while you were chatting, I pulled up Leslie Myrick, my associate coach, who works for me and is an active luxury interior designer in Georgia. Her business profile, there's a click to get directions because she put in an address. Now she uses a co-working space, so she could put in an address, but it takes them to her area where she serves. Also, we didn't talk about Google reviews, which are huge to drive business to your interior designer website or any local business website. If you have more reviews, people read them and then they go to your website, right?
Yeah.
So getting Google reviews, having an address in your local area or service areas, making sure when you get that email, once you do have a Google business profile, or if you do and you're not using it properly, you're getting emails that say, were you open yesterday for Veterans Day? I used to delete those emails. When I started learning more and more about how important it is to have your Google business profile up to date, now every time I get that email, I open it. I make sure I say I'm closed or open or change the hours.
Respond.
You've got to touch your public facing assets like a Google business profile and all your social media and your website often enough to keep it up to date so that Google knows you're still an active business. If you start touching everything, your traffic is just going to continue to go down. So on a Google business profile, you can put a link to your website, directions to your place if you want them there. But any way you slice it, you put an address, it'll put directions. I know people are afraid that crazy people are going to find them. It rarely happens, but you do have to do what's comfortable for you. So you can always do a PO box. So, okay, your website link is there. Directions are there. People can save it. They can share it and they can call you directly from there. Then you have your Google reviews. And the more Google reviews you have, the more someone is going to feel like, oh, they're really good. So I'm just going to give an added tip here. And then you could put you literally put an update to your Google profile the same way as you do with lots of social media. So it's not hard at all to actually give an update, and minimum all your blogs, if you're writing blogs, should be up there. If not, all the successful jobs you've completed. You could put photos up there, you could put descriptions. And again, like you said, make sure you're using words that people would be searching for.
Yeah, excellent. Do you have any recommendations on getting Google reviews?
Okay, so my Google review recommendation is a little different from what some other people will say. A lot of people just send your Google link. So you can, once you have your Google business profile set up, you will have a customized link you can send to people. We don't do that unless we just know this person's a great writer. We know what they're going to say. Because what happens is often you send a link to people and they don't do it. And then you're caught with, they didn't do it. Should I send it to them again? Should I ask them again? Why won't they do it? They seem really happy. I just don't know why. So what we do is we tend to send an email saying, would you write us a review? And if they do, we get it back, we review it, we copy and paste it into another email and say, thank you so much. We're going to add this to our website. Would you mind also adding it to Google for us? Because we can't do that for you. And we'll give them the link.
Interesting.
Okay?
Yeah.
So they'll do it if they can just copy and paste. But let's go back even one step further. If someone who you send an email to get a review and they don't do it, the next thing you can do, and I know this sounds weird, but it really does work. I don't know if you've ever done this, Amber. You can write 3 reviews for them and say, I wrote 3 reviews, 3 or 4 sentences each, something small, based on our conversations throughout the project. Would it be easier for you just to choose one, or would you like to write one yourself? Every time people choose one and go, oh my God, that's perfect. Use that one. And it becomes their review. And then you copy, paste it and send it back with your Google link and say, great, thank you so much. And here's the Google link. Would you do us a favor? Click the link, copy and paste it. And we really appreciate it.
That's really interesting. I like that strategy. I don't not like it. It is different because, and I don't get personally offended when someone doesn't leave a review because obviously my area is time management and productivity.
Yes.
Like, not that they haven't improved because they absolutely have improved, but I just have a different perspective. Like, I understand people are really busy. And so we do try to make it as easy as possible. Path of least resistance is how I always think of any ask from any client.
Yes.
And so our process is a little bit different, but it's through that same lens. How do you make it as easy as possible? Because it gets on their list, it gets rolled over, they're not sure they're going to say the right words, and it has nothing to do with their amazing experience transformation with you. So yeah great.
No, they just get anxiety over writing it. I mean, I have one client, he was with me for 2 years. He's killing it. And he's like, I'm going to write you a review. I'm going to write you a review. Well, it's been 2 years. I've never gotten that review, right? But if I wrote it for him, and I started doing this after him, but I should go back and do it for him. If you write 3 reviews for your clients, they are thrilled, Amber. When I tell you that, they are like, thank you. That's exactly what I wanted to say. I just couldn't figure out how to say it. And I learned this strategy when I wrote my book. My book coach taught me this. He said, everybody does this. They literally, like, let's say I said, Amber, could you do me a favor, write me a review on my book? Here's a digital copy, but you didn't even get to read it yet. Sometimes, right?
Right.
So you'll read a little bit of it. I'll give you 3 options. You'll be like, yeah, that's the one I feel when I started to read the book. And that's how a lot of people get those book reviews that you see quickly, because they really write it for them. And then they eliminate that one from their bank of testimonials, let's say, or reviews, and they never use it again. And then they write new ones.
You know, we have a whole process for getting reviews, and then what we do with follow-up if we don't get them, and then how we utilize them in different marketing pieces from social media to the website. It goes in a lot of different places. And so I think this was an unintended takeaway for all you listeners, is that if you do not have a process, and the process can be version 1.0 and then fine tune it over time, is what is your process to actually get reviews? And ideally, what I hear Nancy saying is we do want to get them on Google business profile, because people read them. It could tip them as to whether they're going to make the call or go visit the website or anything like that. I think of my own buying behavior, and there's things that I won't buy at a Target because I can't read the reviews. I'll go home and go online, and so I could read the reviews, or I'm going to be on Amazon because I can read the reviews. Yes. That's my buying style. And so we want to make sure that we're supporting other people's buying styles, and that they want proof, social proof that you are great and you're going to be able to help them.
Yes. And don't forget, this is like another mini website, your Google business profile, because you can put your service models on there too. Leslie has full service interior design strategy session, VIP design day. If your pipeline is full, you can put your prices. If your pipeline's not full, I do not recommend you putting your prices, but it's another place where people can find you. And it is a place that feeds your website traffic. And once you have your Google business profile up, besides your location, people can find you, the reviews, the posting, you can get statistics now from Google. Without your Google business profile, you can't get statistics from Google as to where the traffic is coming from to your website. So once you have that set up, you can get some basic statistics that help you manage your business as a CEO and not just as a worker bee.
That's right. Well, thank you so much for deep diving in on this topic. I know you had a resource. You referenced it. If you can share that link, and then we'll make sure the link is in the show notes. As well, Nancy, if you can just share how our listeners can find out more about you and connect with you after this podcast interview.
Okay, so I'll send everyone to my website. It's the easiest place to find everything in Nancy's world. So it's nancyganzekaufer.com. I'm sure you'll have the spelling for them in the show notes.
Yes, and it's across the screen. We're going to make sure you're titled out with your last name. They'll get that.
And on my website, in the top left corner, there's an orange box called Free Resources. And the second free resource is the Google Business Profile Tutorial. That's the one everyone should be looking for. It's easy breezy to get your Google business profile up and running. And it's something that in our Profit Insider Academy, we're focusing more and more on helping people get their SEO up. And this is the first step, and we're giving it away for free.
Excellent. Thank you so much for being here, Nancy.
Thanks for having me, Amber. Always nice to see you.
You too.
Bye, everyone.
I have loved having you listen to this episode of the Small Business Straight Talk podcast. And I sure hope you found our conversation about Google profiles and how to up-level your game when it comes to your Google profile. But I need to be straight with you. No change, no change. Without taking action, nothing will change for you or your business. Based on my conversation with Nancy, I went and took very specific action to upgrade my own Google profile, and that is what I ask you to do. Break down some of the strategies and ideas that she shared with us into actionable tasks, get them on your task list, and schedule time to make those updates. If this is your first time tuning into the Small Business Straight Talk podcast, welcome. Be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss another episode. And if you've enjoyed today's episode, please share that with another business owner who you think would find it valuable. So that's my straight talk for today. Until next time, have a productive week.